Hi, welcome back. I want to do a quick share with you of a private swap I'm doing with a wonderful YouTube friend. And we're doing it based on our Flowish journals. And for those of you are unfamiliar with it, this is a journal inspired by Flow Book. There's also Flow Magazine. There's several different additions to Flow, but this is inspired by Flow Book, and it's also inspired by a woman who created this swap over in a group called Trashy Junk Journals, and I will post a link in the box below to the group. So the idea of a Flowish journal is it's a supply journal. It's a journal that you can take apart and you can reuse in your own work. I probably view it a little bit more like an exercise in color, texture, and content for me personally. So the first thing I do is I search for a book, and I'm really fortunate to be given a lot of, or gifted a lot of, or get books very inexpensively that are being discarded. So I found this book and I just loved it. I loved the cover, I loved the content, and I'm hoping that maybe she'll use it for a junk journal in the future. And if you guys watched my making a bead cap video, this was the book that I said I finished the journal and I wanted to add something to it. So this book was the inspiration, and this swap was the inspiration for making bead caps, and this book has a lovely fat tassel to go on it as well. So I'm going to give you a quick flip through. I'm not going to show you every little thing because it is chock-a-block full. So like I mentioned, it's a supply style journal. So as you can see, I've sewn a pocket on one side of the book. I've taken the insides of the book out, reinforced it with some duct tape, and the signatures are just tied in. It has one very large signature just tied in with some tulle. And as you can see, I've made a lot of different things out of magazines and book pages. You know, the great thing for this group, Trashy Junk Journals, is it's all about recycling and using stuff. It's not about going out and buying things. So it's really great. So I've made her junk mail envelopes, magazine and book page, library pockets. Also has some, I live in a touristy area, so I put a lot of touristy flyers in here and things that that are readily available. This is kind of cool. I went to buy a refrigerator, and they give you this paper tape measure to measure your refrigerator, so I thought it was kind of cool. Maybe she can use it in her journal, in her junk journaling efforts. And I've, some little magazine cutouts and different things. So I'm just going to give you guys a really quick flip through. I've made her a pocket from a shopping bag, and inside is filled with all of these envelopes that I've made from fashion magazines. She's got a whole bunch of different fashion magazine and book page envelopes that I've made. There's some handmade embellishments. Also made from a fashion magazine. The hidden paper clip on the back. It's really just been a fun endeavor, this whole Trashy Junk Journals, but this whole flowish style journal. For me, I just really like the texture of paper and the color and form. So for me, everything, even the layering of the pages, is fun. I enjoy it. Loved this. Came from just a house magazine, and I just love the patterning of it. So this is a great way if you want to consolidate supplies for a specific project to do for yourself, you can. As you can see, I've cut a few paper borders for her, and then here's some more magazine cutouts that I find interesting. Paperclip embellishments made from magazine pages, and this is made from a tea box. More tags and just bits and pieces. This is a map. And I just thought it was kind of cool the way it was. Calendar pages, atlas pages. Made her one of those little a tea journaling book made with a tea bag, the outside of a tea bag, and then tea dyed the paper and then sewed it in. So, like I mentioned, this is a great way to collect for a supply journal. So if you were doing a project, say like for instance, this is a wax paper bag filled with die cuts. She wanted some die cuts, so I cut them up from just magazines and different things. So say, you know, you wanted to do a heart themed journal. These are great ways to like contain a stash, or maybe even collect a stash, or collect a themed stash, you know, for you, and to be used for anything. So it's just kind of a fun way that you could add to your own stash and keep it a little bit more organized. These are packaging tags that I've made. If you guys have watched any of my videos, these are made from pasta boxes and cereal boxes, and then I've used jelly print. I've jelly print on top, left the backs as blank, so she can, you know, add paper or paint on them or journal on them. So I've made a few of these for myself. You know, I'm in the middle of making. I have a bunch of different projects going on at once, but I am in the middle of collecting some bits and pieces for a project that I'm doing. I'm doing a poetry project, and so I made myself a journal that has poems, and just like this, a supply journal that has poems and different things and things that remind me of the project that I'm working on, and hopefully in a month or so I'll put together a journal. So what I did was I took some wallpaper samples. These were wallpaper samples, and I sewed them to make pockets. And then I just used a paper clip to hold all the stuff in, because there's lots and lots of bits. An altered paper clip made from a fashion magazine. It's a tennis shoe. Then just some die cuts. I gave her templates for some small envelopes. You know, I do have a lot of books. This is just a front cover of a paperback, and then some of those junk mail postcard envelopes that I've made. So just to give you just a fun idea of what you can do with bits and pieces of junk that you have, or you have access to, right? Somebody wrote me a comment the other day and said, you know, like she didn't have a lot of supplies. And I said, you know, I began my first junk journaling effort with, I think, a handful of magazines, some free books that I got from a discarded pile at our local library, and some markers, and I actually made my own washi tape back then with masking tape. I love these little wax bags. This one's filled with flower components to making for flowers, die cut flowers. What's cool is I took a paper bag and I folded it up. It was too large for the journal, and made a pocket there. Then I also slit the top, and in the top has more bits inside. It has, let me see if I can move it down so you can see it. You can see in the top, I've slit the top of the bag, and inside the bag, inside the top of the paper bag. So that's kind of a great way to make a pocket, or a, you know, tuck spots and pockets with very little effort. I went back and I taped kind of cool bits that she might want to use in her collaging efforts. Another paper clip embellishment that I made from a fashion magazine. It's just fun. Just little bits and pieces. There's lots of stuff in all of these envelopes, but I want some of it to be able to be a surprise for her. I did make those little T tag clips, and she has quite a few in her journal because I was making little T envelopes and T things. Another wallpaper sample on pocket. And this is that same shopping bag that I then filled with. I took some washi tape and made, when I pulled up the edge, I had some fabric washi. Now she can remove this as well. And then I've made little pockets, and it's got lots of little stuff in it. And then the back pocket is filled once again with lots more goodies, and just I really had a fun time making from some old books, lots of envelopes and bits and pieces. Well, I hope you enjoyed my quick flip through. I hope this encourages you to make your own trashy, flowish style supply journal for your own projects. It's a great way to organize your bits and pieces that you might want to use, and also just a great way to collect and enjoy the stash that you currently have. Anyway, take care, and as always, I'm wishing you lots of aloha.